Howdy, BeefLowBart here, and welcome. I'm sure nobody's expecting me to stream at this time of the day, but whatever. We're going to stream a little bit while I was working on this project, coming up with alternatives. And if not familiar with this project from what I was doing before, I'll run it full screen. This is actually a built version in standalone. The final product will actually be running in a web browser. So essentially, it's just a pistol. You can slide back. You can rotate it left, take a look at it, or you can rotate it right, or you can just set it to auto spin, and you can change the material on it. Not much there, but as you can see that the background is just a BSP geometry that's laid out flat, and you can see the edges of it. That's no bueno. Don't want to see that. And you can see the shadow. And the background material is not the greatest in the world. It was just a quick put together. It took about an hour of screwing around with it. So, it was rather simple to do, but I'm going to change the way that it looks overall. It's primarily just a widget running in a map, and this was it right here. I'm going to pretty much just go through and build a whole new widget. And the thing about doing as well is, since this is all there is, I can grab this guy right here and simply just do, 3,500 by 3,500. But you can see what it does to the material. So you end up having to click on the face, go to surface properties, change the UI or U scale and V scale of the texture. Let's try 30. And actually needs more than that. 35, since we scaled it 3,500, not 350. And that'll fix that issue. And you won't be able to see in this, but still, doing it this way doesn't look as good as it potentially could be. The buttons look like crap in the other widget. Can actually take and make another version of this, which was this here, and probably do is go ahead and content, not as neat and organized as it should be. Blueprints, since we want to be cool, right click, set color, and we'll do 0, 0, 1. So we have blue, 4 blueprints. That makes sense, right? Take this guy, copy here, so that we keep all of our existing maneuvering and workings. And everything is already there. But what we want is a camera. Add component, camera. And not sure of the positioning just yet on it. And we'll do a new map. File, new level. Yeah, whatever. And we'll go ahead and... Oh, we haven't made any changes yet. Well, we'll worry about that in a minute. So this one, we're going to go ahead and rename that to new and we'll come back to that as well because we're going to end up doing a render target on that. But in the UI, we want to go ahead and create a new user interface widget blueprint. And this will be doesn't really matter all that much. So, the first thing is special effects, background blur, and we'll anchor this to full screen and remove the offsets. And one thing to always remember when you're adding background blur is your blur strength. We'll start at 10 and we'll go from there. So this adds a nice background blur, but let's go ahead and make that to -5 on the Z order. So it'll always be there, but everything you put in after this will go in on top of that. So another thing we need to do here is blueprint, open level blueprints. In fact, to show you what was done on the other one, go in here, open level blueprint. You can actually copy all of this. And all it is creating the widget, adding it to viewport, and so forth. But I will cover that. Let's go into, well, now we got to create a new map again. Alright, so blueprints, open level blueprints. Get rid of these two and paste that in. So on begin play, we're going to create the widget and we want to create the new one. Get access or reference to the player controller so that we can link that into here. And then after create the blueprint, add it to viewport, set input mode to UI only, focus on this widget, and show mouse cursor. And we'll change that name later. So now if we hit play, see we've got 10% background blur covering the entire screen. That's not bad. So we can put something in the background, and the cool thing is you can actually put video playing in the background with no audio, so you have something going on, and then your item in the foreground. Alright, so stomach is being absolutely horrid this morning. Now we need to have our controls, and you know where we're going to put our controls. A couple ways we can go about doing this is we already have the other widget, which is from the first map. And it's got this information right here. Now, everything works. So one thing that I could do is actually use this widget, modify this one, and put it in there. Or I can just, you know, leave it up as an example for just copying it in. So let's go back in here and let's start with an exit button. Don't really need it for the final product. Oh, God. Why are you being an ass? Thank you. So I'm going to put the exit button in the upper right hand corner. And anchor top right. And we want to put some text in here. And let's go ahead and rename that button. Yep, this is actually live. You are here while I'm goofing around. Yeah, I want to get some work done today, and I have not been feeling well for the last month. So I'm actually trying to get some work done today, and I figured I would stream while I was doing it. So welcome. We're just going to make this say exit. It don't have to be pretty. We just want an exit button. So yeah, let's compost and save. The other version, like I said, it was a thing, but it just looked kind of tacky. Well, see, you could just draw inspiration from my old ass, and then that'll help inspire you to get some work done, right? I figure get some work done before it gets too hot. I should want to get outside and work on my Jeep a little bit. I've got a 1960 Willys Jeep that's been sitting in my backyard and haven't had good enough weather to get out there and work on it. So let's actually go back to putting the cart before the horse here. I want to put in an image. I don't have the image yet, but I want to kind of get an idea of where I'm going to put the image. And I know I want to anchor it to the center of the screen. So this is actually going to be the main thing. If you saw what the project was that I'm working on here is it's something for just like a demo for a company to see if they want to actually go this route to add a feature to their website. It's part of their model selector and being able to change options and stuff like that on some of their guns. And the project's called STI because, well, I'm an STI fan. And I actually need to make, actually have it cleared for once. And this pistol's always locked, cocked and locked. But what I wanted to do was see if I could sample that for audio. Like thumb safety and cycling the slide. Pardon if that was a little on the loud side. That's my STI pistol. I'm a fan of the STI products. So I'm going to put that image here. That image is actually going to be from the blueprint. And what I need to do here is, while it's in the viewport, I need to add another thing in here. I've got the camera. Oh. I don't know if I can do this or not. With being able to rotate the item, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with a freaking camera. Because just thinking about it, everything is going to lock in on that rotating movement. And everything is going to rotate. So the camera is going to rotate. And if it doesn't look right, then it's going to be a vomit factor. Oh, shit. There's no way of anchoring the camera separately, I think. So, let me see. I might have to do this a different way. Because we need another component, which is a scene capture component 2D. I'll just leave it called that. And we have to save that. Come down to scene capture and go right here. And tell it to be a render target. And I'm going to put that in images. This is just spitballing right here because I think this is going to be a problem. It's liable to suck. So we go in here and it's 256, 256. I want to make this at least 1,000 by 1,000. Actually, let's make it 600. Because the other one's going to be rectangular as well. And hit save, compile, and save. Always have problems with render targets. Getting them to show up. Okay. Got part of it there, so we're going to have to move the camera around. Let's move it back to get started with. There we go. And now we can move back forward. You can compile and save, then switch back over to it. You can actually see the outline, and that way it auto masks off everything else in the background. That's pretty good. But again, I think we're going to have problems with rotation. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. And before I can put it in there, I've got to actually make this into a material. So I'll right click on it, create material. And I'll go into it. We'll see that it's there. Everything is connected and it's good to go. And we'll just hit save. You can actually see the pistol right there in it. It's working. But now we get to break it so that we can refix it again. So now, with this image, come over here to brush, go to image here, and do that. And you can see this material does not use the UI material domain, blah, 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 blah. Change the material domain, click that, hit compile, and save. It has now broken our render material. I don't know why the hell it does that, but it does. So just reconnect it. Hit save. Now, we can see that it's there. Okay? We got it. We got the gun. However, if we go in here and hit play now, we got a black background. Why do we have a black background? Wanted to mask off everything else but the gun. Exit. Oh, I didn't put any functionality on the exit button yet. Dumbass. You let me do it too. Pistol. No. Oh, stupid. You're in the damn thing. We don't need any of you stuff. Get out of here. Exit. Unclicked. Quit game. Now if we hit play, everything's good, and exit. Trouble being here is we don't actually have that. We just have the image here. We actually need the item in the map. So we'll just put that in right there. There, now we got clear background. But I can see the background there. There was a trick that I've seen done before, and I don't like using that trick, is where you pretty much you just take your item that you're going to use with the camera and everything and change its position to pretty much outer space. You're wanting to put it like way high or way low. And we're talking about our Z height right now is 250. Yeah, 250,000. And that's not high enough. Yeah, it's close. But then it turns into a black background, and it's just not going to work. So I like the other way, because we take this right here, and on begin play, for now, for the hell of it, rotate right. I think what's going to happen here is, yeah, it's rotating around and the background is moving. So, yeah, this way is not going to work. All right, well, that was worth a shot. I'm sure there's another way of doing this, but, yep, that was a waste of time. Force delete, and let's go back to the other map. Don't save, and let's delete that new map. Alright, so this way it does work at least. And I'm going to delete that. Shouldn't be any other references. Start cleaning this up a little bit. Move you over there. So this way does work. I mean, everything is working correctly. We fixed the background issue. However, I think I want to use a background blur on this one. And let's go ahead and hit exit. And I guess for now, we'll clean up the UI. Go in here and again go to special effects, background blur. Anchor this to full screen. And Z order -5. Blur strength. I'm going to go for a lower one, like 5%. That's not going to work because now my gun is blurred. So that won't do. Let's take a look at the actual UI. I don't like the way things look. I could do a background blur for a panel and put the controls there. I'm not worried about the look of the buttons right now. That's very low on the food chain. Hell, I don't know. I kind of want the buttons off to the side more. But for now, let's just look at cleaning things up. And I wish you could select this way and just highlight everything and select it that way. But it don't want you to do that. I mean, you can grab them this way and then control left click on the buttons and then move them, because I've got this one right over here. I want that one to stay there. And then you can move all of them around that way. Do it for now just to get them out of the way. And let's go ahead and get that background blur. And I'm going to anchor that to the bottom. And go full strip all the way across the bottom. Let's see. No offset on the left. We do want it on the Y. Let's go with on the size Y 250 and then offset Y negative 250. Actually, let's change that down. So that'll put it right there at the bottom of the screen. And the order -5 and blur strength of 5. Now we're going to have the blur at the bottom. Make sure you take a look at it before I start moving the buttons. We'll have that blur down there. Not very attractive. But then again, it's not full screen. I just, for right now, want to get things a little bit different. So like the button size here. They need to be the same size. Now, cosmetic-wise, for the buttons, I would actually probably... Well, I would definitely do something totally different for the buttons. But this is not to be perfect. This is just to be... proof of concept. But I'm going to make the buttons bigger. I'm not going to keep this button here for now. I'm just going to use it for sizing. And yes, I can actually manually enter all this stuff in here, and it would be a hell of a lot better. But then again, I am just spitballing. I need to come up with some other ideas for all this. Alright, so black, chrome, left, rack slide. Now I had, so like that, for now, can't rack the slide unless it is flat, because what was happening is it's basing off of its current position, and if it was rotated 90 degrees, then the slide's still trying to go in this direction. So if it's here, then it would still be trying to go this way. So the slide was going sideways. I'll have to come up with some better ideas here. I was kind of hoping for that other setup to work, but I don't want to be that way. It is getting about time for me to go start cooking some lunch. I think I'm going to be doing some orzo and chicken. Mix in some Alfredo sauce. Should be lovely. Alright, we're going to leave it here. And I will just come back to this. But looks terrible. What I need to do is like I used to do, and I would sit down with a notebook or paper and pencil and draw out how I want the image to look, how I want the background to be, how I want the buttons to be laid out, what kind of styling on the buttons. When it comes to creating UI, there's so many things you can do, and I'm sure some people are great with just, oh, well, I'm going to put the button, do it this way, and do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and they can do things lovely. But me, I like an old school approach with pen and paper. So, if you guys got any ideas, or anybody wants to jump in and say, hey, dumbass, do it this way, let me know. I'm actually going to drop this stream for now, and I'll come back and I'll do some more streaming later as I'm working on either this project or one of the other ones. But I need to go start cooking because I'm a fat kid and I like food. Alright, guys. Thanks for stopping by and keep in touch. And like I said, I'll stream a little bit later on once I get done cooking and get a belly full of food and try not to actually fall asleep this time. Alright, guys. See you.